to another episode of the Sisters Chat. We are so happy to be back here with you. We got great feedback from last week. We knew everyone would love Rachel, and we loved listening to it back and hearing the great responses and the positive feedback from everyone. So thank you for being with us for another week. Here we are. We're back with our big sister, Rania. We are so excited that she's here with us. She's got a plus one, too. She had a cute little baby since
Yes,
we've
we
seen
have
her last.
Princess Goddess.
Well, how are you feeling back with the baby?
It takes time to adjust after a baby. I don't know, you think you have it down pat, and then a baby comes in and you feel like a new mom again. It takes forever just to get out. You change them, you burp them, and they go to the bathroom just as you're trying to get out of the house. And back to, taking forever and ever. But we're loving her. So
it was kind of what I told Rachel. Like, it doesn't matter what number baby it is. You think you're going to be prepared for everything. And then, like, boom, you're back in first place. You're back at like the beginning and relearning all the steps. No, Rania?
It's not like you got one down pat. You're set for life. Number 11, you're back to square one.
She wants to make sure that just because she's number 11, she's a full-time job. We have to hold her and take care of her all day. No, just leaving her on the side. She's very well taken care of over here.
That is true.
Do you agree, Manucha?
Can't confirm or deny.
It's almost like the baby knows what today's topic is. That's
what I was feeling. Like, this is like preview already. The baby is just giving the vibes for those of you who are trying to guess what we are going to be talking about. But let's continue the catch up, because last week we rushed right into Rachel because we were so excited to hear what she had to say that we barely even spoke about Hanukkah and what happened. And Adla, I know so many people were playing your games over Hanukkah. I've had friends messaging me, and just, all around Game On was super popular. So how did it feel to have so many families playing your games at their Hanukkah tables?
It was actually so nice, because every single, I think, friend and so many people we didn't even know were sending pictures of like, oh, we're doing this. Or one of my friends told me that she's not from here. And then two sister-in-laws said, don't worry, we've got the game. And they both showed up with like our game. Gershi said that, he saw a game at the family party. Maybe he hadn't listened to Game On. He thought that's such a cute game. And then his kids were like, hello, that's from Adla and Mushki's game show. So really, I think they told us, thousands of people had downloaded the games and were using them. And we were so excited to be part of everyone's Hanukkah. We did lots of fun things over Hanukkah as well. But I'm not going to lie, I just ran an orientation and was using my Would You Rather orientation game. And I'm like, uh-oh, I wonder if they're going to think I got it from like kosher.com and repurposed it. So we had it first. And just fabulous Hanukkah. I loved Rachel's episode last week. Some parts have gone a little viral, so that's always an unusual, like.
What's our reel up to? Adla, we know you keep track.
I track it all. I want to say like 25,000 people, but really it's more that I think everyone who had Rachel with them at birth, it like brought back the wonderful support and love that she gave them. And they were sending in stories like, she was an angel, she was with me, she saved me, I wish I had her. And like, we knew it, that once women see the word birth, they just can't stop talking. It opens us up like that. But it's so nice to put on an episode that people love, and I'm excited. I'm excited to be back this week, and I love that Ranya's here. Just now, when the whole gang is here, like, how could it not be great?
That's true. We're whole again. Mushki, I know you restarted your crafts club, so how's that going? And you're organizing a bus to Shandy Plutzker's concert.
But I don't remember any of that because I actually didn't put on the sisters chat. sweater because I just came back from doing a reel with Yaeli Vogel and a bunch of other influencers. And this is the shirt I wore, and I just like don't want to ever take it off.
Was it option number 1, 2, 3, or 4 from your post?
No, I really listen. Well, it was kind of like I had to listen. Like some things got like the 2 outfits that I thought looked so cute got like 10 or 15 votes, and the other ones got over 100. So it's not like I could even like blur. And I actually really don't like when influencers ask your opinion. I feel like that's how Toph feels when we like ask your opinion, and then they're like, everyone chose one, and then they're like, I'm just going to go with the other one. Like, if you're going to ask, like, listen.
But I have some bad news. You don't have to even tell me you bought this shirt on Kingston. This is the problem with Crown Heights. Problem with Crown Heights shopping is that all the adults, anyone from Crown Heights will know this, and all the high school kids are all wearing the same thing. Your beautiful purple shirt is hanging in the girls' closet.
Are you serious?
And every other high school girl. I saw 30 of them on Chapeton.
Not with the matching leather skirt. Oh my gosh, I could for sure see every single girl wearing a high school Chapeton. Oh
so
my
if the 100 votes might be the 100 girls from Chapeton that were like, it'd be so cool if Mushki wears our outfit on Chapeton.
On the reel. Where we're coming from. Whatever, but it was really fun. And
I want to ask something, Mushki. Don't you think, now that we have a podcast, we could say what we think? I always thought that Top Fashion should have a rule. If they're selling it for adults, they don't also sell it to the kids. Like, one of the biggest issues teachers have out there, besides for the pagan chinuch, the second biggest issue is that students and teachers all have the same outfits. You buy a nice outfit, you show up in class, every kid says, I have it. What are we supposed to wear? When are people going to start taking this issue seriously?
I think we have to make another reel about it, but they should definitely have a buzzer. Like you can't, like the student can't walk out of the store. Like it should, like the alarm should go on. If you're right, if their teacher,
you're selling it to adults, you can't also sell it to things like.
No, I think we really have to bring up one of these serious things.
Yeah.
But I put in as a huge accomplishment of 2025. I did that cringy, but I actually think it came out cute, real. And I said this year we started a podcast with my sisters, and I gave us a shout out. So now all Kiki Burgers followers and Kiss the Kosher Cook and Yaeli Vogel know about the sisters chat.
Oh, that's pretty awesome. Menucha, how was your week and a half? What are you guys up to?
I actually had my friend's wedding, which is really crazy. I went out of the house, but that was really fun. So we're just recovering from that. We can't move for a few days. We got to see everyone.
Social.
I know. Adla was there. She came earlier than me, so she actually is a better friend.
But you're the best friend.
I know.
I was there first. I'm the best friend. Manucha's the best friend's sister, apparently.
Now I feel bad. I was there 3:45, but Adla was there at 3. So what are you supposed to do?
Stop stealing Manucha's thunder.
Try, you can't. But Adla got recognized. They knew her. They said, that's the older sister.
One girl, she was jumping ahead. And there's etiquette in terms of weddings. The best friend should hug the kala first. All these kids are flying in. So this girl steps in. I'm like, I'm sorry. Menucha is going up to say hi to the kala. I'm her older sister. I'm doing my job. She's like, you think I don't know? You're one of Menucha's scary older sisters. I was like, oh, I thought I was being so like, I'm sorry here, but Menucha's trying to get in, you know?
No, it was so funny. And then by dancing, they were like, we remember by your wedding, Mushki came up to us and was like, you're not getting into first dance. I hope you know that. And I was like, oh, I didn't know we were threatening people.
Very protective.
I know. Apparently.
Yeah,
I was like, I
it's
didn't even
mommy's
know.
pet peeve when friends go in. I don't remember doing that, but I was, being a really good daughter because mommy always literally gives us that speech. You think it's going to be like the speech the night before the wedding? She's like, I have to talk to you. I'm like, okay, I'm ready. And like, when you sit down, like, I guess this is what it is. And she's like, I think it's disgusting when friends cut in before sisters and sister-in-law. I don't care if your friends think they're dancing with you. You're dancing with the family and then Chaya Diamond. And there goes that. That's the wedding speech.
Did Brady's mother give her the speech or not? Or did Menucha, maybe you didn't tell your friends that you're number 12 and that there was going to be like 11 people before them.
I tried to warn them. How do you say it? But I actually did make it into first dance, so that was really exciting. They snuck me in at the end, so feeling very
Wow.
special.
That is, well, your Shato looks great.
I know it's very blonde. Did you dye it?
Nope, it's just nice and dirty.
Esha, how are you doing now that Hetty's a bit older? How does it feel to have like your two babies down pat?
I've honestly been loving two. I feel like the transition from one to two has been like really nice. Where like you're either way parenting, why not just get like another one in it and make it feel more legit?
But you're not like getting paid for it. That sounds like my crafts club. I'm like, I'm doing it anyways. Like I was so happy it filled up so nicely. But like, who's paying you for the second kid?
Mushy, it's a twofer. It's always a twofer, and we never say no. I want to have twins just because I want to get two babies out of one pregnancy. Of course, she wants the parent too.
I was just gonna say it's more valid for being a stay-at-home mom and not needing to work because I'm like, I have two babies at home. I feel like I get more credit now. And I'm like not looking for a job. So
Like you say it with more conviction to Dari. I get it now.
I'm like,
get
yeah, let's
it.
bring out number 3. Come on, let's just like make me stay home forever. But actually, I have some exciting news. I got myself a hobby. I'm starting to needlepoint again. I went to the needle pointing store and I'm sorry, guys. I have to bring out my inner grandmother moment. You're not expecting it, but I'm starting to
you're
needlepoint.
you just went from young mom to super old grandma, but
Is this alongside journaling, or you threw out the journal and you add needlepoint, or is there space for both in your day? Tell us how it works.
So honestly, it's really hard to fit
What about
everything
knitting
in.
and crocheting?
No. I want to do something that's more useless, and that's needlepointing because there's nothing to do with it when I'm done.
What do you mean? Rachel Bronston, all the ladies in the bungalow colony, they really hang it up, put it on film bags, challah covers. No, we're going to make sure that
First
it
of all,
comes to good
exactly.
use.
Naftali's grandmother used to knit needlepoint, and that's like the most prized possession that anyone has. I also had an awesome Hanukkah. I feel like even though Hanukkah feels like a while ago, it's still fun. We had one of our big highlights is our parade, and I love that we're a small town, but we have 60 cars, put a menorah on top, and we take over the city. And yeah, we're happy to be back. Love having all the sisters, and that's going to really bring us into our topic of why we made sure Rania is here this week, because everyone's always asking us, you guys, are such a big family. Between Rania and Manucha are 24 years, so it's quite the age gap. But we love, saying that we're super close to each other. We really are all best friends. But people always wonder, how does, the oldest, the youngest, the middle, how does the birth order affect just our relationships with each other, our unique personalities, and do we still stay close together with that age gap, with some brothers in between? We do have, 6 others, but we're going to focus today on the birth order of the girls, with oldest and middle and youngest, and we're going to just have fun chatting, breaking the stereotypical birth order theories and seeing how it applies to each and every one of us. Rania, you're the oldest of 12, so you're definitely the oldest of the big crew. You might say you're a different generation than some of us because we do have the boys in between. But, stereotypical oldest, I usually say got the parents' most attention. So being the oldest, or just sometimes you felt like you're super responsible or you had to help a lot because you had all these younger siblings. You might have felt the burden to make sure all your siblings were okay. But generally, older people are also super capable, responsible. They might be sometimes more critical on themselves or feel the burden because they can't only take care of themselves and taking care of others. So just a couple of points that, we know about a typical oldest. But how do you feel as an oldest? Do you feel like you fit that cliche oldest mold? Or just tell us what you felt like being the oldest of the family.
Definitely, I feel like a bunch of those things. You're totally right. I think in the oldest of a family, not that the parents mean to do it, but they're like, I don't say more nervous, but it's like you want to make sure everything's right. It's like, the oldest, it's like, don't give them any nosh. But then, by the time it came to number 12, they're eating ice cream from the day they're born, because it's more just like, you're more relaxed and easygoing about things because you already been there and done that. You made your mistakes. Um, but I definitely feel as the oldest, you kind of feel responsible, or maybe it's also like you have a bunch of younger siblings underneath you, so you always had to be responsible. I think, Ayla, you're kind of like the oldest of the second crew because it was me and then three boys who were the princesses, like literally.
But do you feel, Rania, that let's say being
So,
the oldest really helped you go out and start your Chabad house? Like already got that capability down pat? Like you already had that leadership role?
well, I think you have a good work ethic, or you learn to like have to be like organized and on top of things. So it really helps to like be on top, really like keep things in order and neat. And I think like I don't know, I think that's really a something that you like a role that you get from being in the oldest.
But Rania, like funny sitting here, like you have Manucha, your youngest sister, and she is younger than your kids, right? So how does that like feel to you to have
Yeah.
siblings that are younger or older, like or the same age as your kids? Like sometimes it's hard to, are you my sister or are you my daughter type of thing.
It was actually always kind of cute because Hesha was 6 months at my wedding. So she was like the cute little baby. And then Manuka was born after I had two kids. But the thing was is that I didn't live in New York anymore. We lived in California. So we kind of didn't really like grow up with her. She was kind of like the cute niece or cousin type of thing as opposed to the sister. And then it was like great because whenever we came to New York, my kids would all play with her. Like I think like Menachem is exactly a year older than her, like a year and a day, 2 days. So it was like they became like good friends. It was sort of like my kids, it was like sort of like, yeah, it was more like cousins or as sisters. But it's kind of cute because now in my family, we have the same thing now. Mushki is 25 years older than little baby Yehudis, and her two kids also are older. And it's so cute because my 2-year-old is best friends with her son. They're in preschool together. They do everything together. And it's so nice because she lives next to us. So it's like one big happy family. They're over every day and they all play together and hang out together. It's like really, really cute.
From families, they mess up the whole generation thing. It is so confusing to keep track of who's what and what's who. But Rani's definitely the oldest because I told her in one sentence, I booked tickets to California. I'm so excited for midwinter. And the first thing she says is, do you want to stay by me? Should I arrange a whole family play date? What else do you need? Like, she's always taking care of everyone. That's what, when you're the oldest, it's just how your body, like what you know and what you do. You can't run away from it.
I think it's always best. I highly recommend marrying an oldest because it's just natural for them to take care of you. Like if you don't say thank you, they don't even realize like what they're doing is like extra. It's just like, yeah, this is what they should naturally. Yeah, this is normal. Be like nurturing and taking care of everything.
Oh, Mushki and Manucha both got an oldest. Yes.
Thank goodness.
It's actually funny. I spoke to Macy. She does emotion code, and she was telling me because I was doing my oldest, Millie, who's 2, but she was actually telling me that there's something specific about oldest girls that have a lot of intensity because that's just like the position that they're in. Something about that placement, and especially if it's a girl, the oldest child
It's
brings.
It's called Makas Bechora. That's what Shoshana Mansuri always would say.
But there's something also like there's something so strong about the oldest where like you see like they have such strength. They have like they know who they are. They're like they have a lot of like beautiful traits about it. A lot of times we view like intense as like not like always the best thing, but intense, they're so true to themselves and they're quite powerful people.
I was going to say the word powerful. And Rennie, what you were referring to by the way before, it's true. It's I always hear this from 2 different perspectives, but the oldest kids get what they call a textbook parent, right? You're literally following a book and saying, oh, make sure the kid goes to bed at 7. And then by the later ones, you don't care anymore. And one time someone said to me, well, that's why we had done a wills and estates one when we said they get double. And everyone thinks, oh, because they're their favorite. And someone once gave me a perspective. It said, oh, because they were the practice kid. We've tried everything out on them and we have to pay them back later. So it's like there's a huge part of like, you get the most attention when you're the oldest. You know, when you're number 11 and you're having your sitter party, I mean, I'm not going to, if I have an 11th her sitter party, I'm not going to any more of those. Like, definitely not a graduation. And there's just, you can't do it anymore. You can't fake that you're excited for the 100th medal from Civis Hashem. I'm trying, but it's not good. You know,
especially when it's the exact same songs.
Exactly. So the oldest kid gets that huge extra attention, but like you said, you know, they have this much more intense like the responsibility piece, and their parents are just more on top of them. They're really full on parenting. They get the entire two parents attention, while look at Hesha now she's splitting it amongst two kids. Boom, takes up knitting.
Connie Heyman, she gives a lot of parenting classes. And when I recently took her class, she, like, one of her rules, she has these rules, and she says the oldest needs to get 10 more privileges than the other kids. And everyone's like, what? They get so many privileges. And she's like, no, you practiced on them. It's much more intense for them. If you don't want them coming out like bitter and resentful, 10 extra. And she says the second one should get 5 extra privileges. But she's like, you really better make sure, you know, to really find those privileges for, you don't have to tell them. You don't have to say, oh, because you're the oldest and I practiced on you. You know, you might come out.
Because everyone knows oldest daughters and mothers have issues and oldest sons and fathers have issues. We're going to send you to Florida. So not like that. That's not what she said.
No, she says, like, you just make a list just to make sure that you know your daughter. So that's when I quickly gave Mimi her own room. Like, it felt very justified. Yes, you do get your own room. She said, yeah, you could just say because they're the oldest.
I think it's actually really helpful. I'm happy you mentioned that. Macy said that. It's like, when you know, and that's why this conversation I think will be so helpful. It's like, it's not just you. It's not just you and your daughter, or, you know, you and your mother, or you and your son. It's like, it's a natural relationship that happens when you place a child in this position and how they're going to grow up. And like, that's the beautiful thing about learning and like understanding psychology. It's like, oh, this is the process that will happen. And then, you know, what we can use, like you said, Nini, the benefits from it. What are the skills and the strengths, as opposed to only looking at like what was so hard.
But it's funny, Adla, because you're really not the oldest in the family. Like, you're number 5. Rania, you know, was the oldest, and they had the 3 boys. And by the time we were like old enough to start like making our own personalities and different things, Rania was really out of the house. I mean, we loved, you know, once we got to high school and went to California for Sukkot and Pesach, like, we loved it, because that's when we really started building our relationship and having you back in our life. But really, I mean, I remember you maybe braiding my hair when I was a kid. But more than that, like, by the time we were growing up, you were already married and moved to California pretty quick. So even though you're number 5, Adla, you almost held like the big sister role for the second generation, like Brenya said. So you almost could identify like as an oldest, as opposed to closer to a middle child.
Definitely not the middle child. Definitely closer to the oldest.
Adla, I remember you were in charge of walking everyone to school. You like had all these little girls. It was Nini and Mushki, and also the neighbors and the cousin Afsins. Like, you were like literally a year older, and you probably walked like 10 little girls to school. Like, when you were like 7 years old, like, you would think you were this big girl. You're always like in charge of everyone.
Right. And I think that's, you know, any large family, people will see that the birth order plays over a few times. So there is no, you know, there is, of course, the oldest, and that's also because your parents were younger, you know? So I guess for me, the downside was nobody cared when I got into seminary, and it was less exciting when I, you know, was doing other things because it had happened already. But in terms of responsibility, when you read that list, Nini, that definitely resonates with me, of like the worrying part and feeling that, you know, responsibility piece and kind of being a caretaker, which is a lot about what oldest do. On the other hand, I do feel like gave me the skills of, you know, getting up and moving. And I feel like sometimes I get texts from people like, I want to go with you on vacation. And first I'm flattered because I think they like me. And then it's just like, no, because I don't want to have to plan anything, Hanukkah, Mushki, or Hesha, or Manuka, whatever you're doing, Pesach will come. And I'm always like, that's so nice. And I'm like, wait, Is it because you don't have to make any details and any plans and it's going to be on me? But
Very
it's just
happy
a
tag
natural
along.
fun.
I can't believe she caught along, Heshamanuka.
I
It's only been
noticed.
10 years. How did you figure out so fast?
That was a pretty good 10 years we got in.
Somebody spilled the secret. I'm like, I just want to come with you, so you plan it. I was like, ouch, what?
Somebody
So-
made it too obvious.
Who
and
ratted
ruined
us
it for the
out?
rest of us.
So definitely the oldest. I feel like Rania and I are like both the oldest in this family because we are such a large family. And definitely recognize that in my oldest daughter, where she also feels, extra capable, things that we had her do then. Now when I say to my kids, do it, she's like, Ma, it was fine. We did that. And I'm like, I don't know if that's such a good idea anymore. Like I start judging myself, but she seemed so capable, so mature that it was like, of course this makes sense, and then as your kids, you have more of them, you're like, that makes less sense. We get older and smarter. So I definitely feel that older place, but maybe without either you're still not by yourself. So like you still have, we were a pack of 3 girls in the middle. So there was this middle bit of us, all of us together being like this social pack and not having to be in charge of everything.
Okay, so with Adlon Rania as the oldest, we've got me and Mushki 6 and 7 kind of in the middle.
6, 7.
6,
Sorry.
7.
I work in a school and I live with a 7-year-old boy. I'm sorry, he just
That
came
was
out.
unexpected.
So we're gonna like fight out the middle child, 6, 7 all the way. So we share it. They say sometimes the middle children are the peacemakers, the family glue. Sometimes they say they were missing from the attention or lacking attention. They have to find other things. Still, I'm the glue of the family, so I hold that title. But Mushki really sometimes likes talking about that she was the real middle child, and maybe she was like didn't get as much attention, but maybe that's what brought out her creative side because she got to spend so much time in the basement doing crafts. So going to you, Mushki, do you identify as the middle child of the family? Do you like owning that title?
More when it comes to like middle child syndrome. Like when I look up the symptoms of it, it's kind of like that middle seat in the airplane, doesn't have like the best reputation. And I was going through it and I was like, wow, this would have been so helpful. Because a lot of it is like they don't really know their place. Like there's like the oldest is very defined, youngest, and the middle they kind of have to like forge their own. And it says they're definitely like the peacemakers, and it's very easy to forget about them. And early on, they just learn like just be good, like you don't cause too much. Some middles could be rebellious, trying to like make a path for themselves, but that actually literally said middles get lost and left at home.
Uh-oh, incoming
It's like
story.
the parents will it's like no one's gonna forget about the baby. And like obviously you need the oldest there, but somehow like the middle, and I'm like, oh my gosh, I wish I would have known. I would have got
Mushki,
some
you
warning,
cried
but
so
they
much
say
when you were little. I promise you, no one left you at home. You weren't forgotten ever.
Except when they were dropping you off to seminary.
except when they left
So
me at
Rania wasn't
home.
there, so she didn't know.
Oh, Rania, you don't know this, but when they dropped you off to go to seminary, I actually was left at home for hours and hours on end.
But you didn't notice, so it doesn't count.
I didn't notice because I was so excited that I finally got the computer to myself and I was able to play Tank Wars without Mendy and Maishi kicking me off the computer.
But Tati goes to the airport 4 hours early, so that means you played Tank Wars for like a solid 5 hours.
The first 2 hours, I was like, I was like holding my breath, like someone's gonna come, they're gonna kick me off. And then like after 2 hours, remember my little shoulders like relaxing, me like no one's kicking me off. I could play that and that other like policeman game. And then when like the bell started ringing, I was like, oh, somebody else will get it. But it definitely says they have a lot of like they kind of just try like not to make trouble sometimes and like just find their own things to do and like keep them happy. So they're like super creative. A lot of them start companies. Half of the presidents of the United States are middle children.
And also, I was going to say half of the big companies like Bill Gates and a few other big names are middle, because you missed a positive for middle is that middle children are automatically more social. And they have this peacemaking skill, which I think Nini and Mushki, both of you, that makes sense, because as the oldest, we're always like had responsibility and we didn't feel good about leaving because how could mommy go on a trip without being there? Like that was something that I felt, but you guys were all about like going out with friends and making sure that you had their group. And it's actually a defined middle child. And you'll see babies don't have that either, right? But middle children are more social because they feel like everyone in the family will figure it out. I want to find people outside of the house. And they also enjoy putting people together.
Exactly.
Yeah, they say middle children are very, very social. They also observe a lot. They see what's going on and they're really just like kind of figure it out. They could be very easygoing. They learn just to how to like, very like socially savvy. I know a lot about being like the middle child. I was like, oh, it's not only me. Or these like reels or memes about middle child day and like everyone showing up in normal clothes and the middle child having to put on this whole like costume. It's a lot about middle children in costumes and having to like, give themselves that attention. I'm like, oh, okay, fine. So that's where Nini, I kind of feel like.
But the fun part of also being a middle is that we could really identify with the older and the younger. Sometimes when the older kids are getting a privilege or something, like something for the older kids, the younger kids have to go to bed early and you could just make the cut by being the middle. Or sometimes when there's something special for the little kids, you can still be part of those. So truth is, there are a lot of perks. You can be the best of both worlds.
I obviously cash in a lot on like my middle child syndrome, but I love the easygoingness of it. I think a lot of middle children are very easygoing and flexible and learn to like go with the flow.
Right. And truth is, the middle, like everyone kind of connects. It's not like we were saying, almost Rania, Menucha have this 24-year gap. Not that it makes a bridge in closeness, but like there's no one that I'm so far from age. Like you have the older kids and the younger kids, but generally you're not like kind of like at way different stages. So the middle is fun. I'll do the 6, 7 again with Adla. Enjoy splitting it with you, Mushki. Have fun sharing that part of childhood together and our really best friends as adults. So, but moving on to the younger kids, we also have in between Mushki and Hesha, we have another 3 sets of princes, another 3 boys. So we have Hesha and then Menucha, and Hesha and Menucha are 5 years apart. So they're not even like back to back, like me, Adla, Mushki, kind of like a crew. So Hesha, you held the title as the youngest for a while. I just remember walking home from Beis Rivka with you with your little braids on Friday. You were like our baby sister for a long time before Menucha came along. So do you feel like you and Menucha hold title as like the youngest, the spoiled kid, the cute kid, everyone's doting on you? Or did you feel like you were growing up with like a bunch of mothers, extra mothers, or more like just a lot of extra sisters? Let's just explore, what does the youngest child mean to you? How you and Menucha, like you guys kind of feel like you're your own little zone at the bottom of the family, like it was just you two versus everybody else. But typically the youngest kids are most adored. Everyone loves them. They are generally more spoiled, easygoing, because no rules apply to them. They don't have to rush anywhere. Everyone's taking care of everything for them, and everyone's just making sure that they're okay. And generally the parents, that the love and doesn't end there, but everything that you give like for so many years just kind of comes out at your baby and your youngest kids. So how does that make you feel?
I'm going to say, Yehudis, listen up. This is going to be you.
It's funny. I don't know. Maybe Menucha is going to agree with me. I don't feel like we're typical youngest because Mom and Tati were still very full on parenting. They did not like stop parenting at 11 and 12. They were still very active. And I don't feel like Ma got like chill until like I was like in high school. Like I feel like I still had a bedtime until like high school. I feel like she was pretty on top of it, mommy. She kind of treated us like a second family. She did it again, like a second chance at parenting almost, where mommy was taking us out every Sunday and was quite strict. So I don't feel like it was this like laissez-faire. Like I feel like we still had a pretty scheduled
No,
childhood.
not compared to us.
Okay, two sets of parents, but mommy, I don't feel like we have this massive spoiled streak. And you guys might say yes, but I don't feel like we're super spoiled. What do you think, Nuka?
I think recently.
Are you
maybe
kidding
more
me? When
than
we were
before.
little,
Not when we were
vacation
little.
was very special, but we went to like Lake George, upstate New York. You guys got to go on cruises to the Bahamas. That was never a thing in our day.
But it wasn't a thing for anyone in those days also.
I
Like
was
no
going
one
to
was
say that
going.
it just wasn't it wasn't a thing for the time.
Yeah, like it wasn't a thing for the times. Like now traveling's much more. That's how we used to do it. We used to go visit you, but I don't feel like we have this spoiled thing. But I feel like a big part of being the younger ones is that you have like a lot of judgment comparison between your older siblings, because your older siblings are, let's say, Mushki's 10 years older than me. So you're always constantly being like compared to your siblings. We're like, oh, Mushki was head of Geo, Mimi was running this thing, Ayla was ahead of this. I feel like there's a lot of like comparatives. Like they always try to compare us to the older ones. So I feel like that.
And how did we face off? I'm going like this again.
I think they gave up.
They definitely gave up, but it was like almost like a personal identity crisis you have to go through, where you really have to figure out who you are and not compare yourself to your older siblings. I feel like there's like a little bit of like a rebellious streak with the youngest ones, a little bit. Hence, me and Manuka have our little ears, our ear
Don't tell people
piercing,
that.
and our highlights we had done. But I think also a big part of being the youngest is that you're typically taken care of. So asserting our independence and our trying new things, you're always like, why can't you figure things out? It's like, but everyone else always took care of us. It's a very hard thing where like you're always taken care of, because that's how people show love, is that they take care of you. And then as you become an adult and you have to start taking care of your own things, it's really, really scary because you're just not used to it.
You know what? That's so interesting. I never thought of it from that perspective. Like, that's just what you were used to, as opposed to, it makes sense. So now I'm thinking that when people are dating, single girls, listen up, this is actually more critical than we thought. You marry a youngest, they're going to want to be taken care of.
Yeah.
Like, how is this not a huge part of coaching? No?
Well, Manucha did well. So the youngest marrying an oldest really it's a good combination.
It's a good combination.
But on the flip side, like, yes, you're taken care of. But the question is, people also sometimes as the youngest say, like, you're not taken seriously. Like when you voice your opinion or something, like, did you feel like when there was a conversation, if you had an input, was it just like, oh, you guys are the babies, what do the big kids have to say? Or like at what point in this family did you feel like you were almost like an adult and people started taking you seriously? Or do you feel that yet?
Like, we're still waiting. Any day now.
I feel like once you like after high school, seminary, I feel like you guys were very accepting, but like you would listen to us and like take us seriously. And especially like once you hit a certain stage or you get married and you're having kids, everyone's like just sharing information. And obviously there's still a little give as like the older siblings, like I'll turn to you asking questions and like you'll also like listen to me. I feel like that happens. But it's also funny because I think like the middle is attention seeking, but I find like the youngest, sometimes we don't like attention. Like, I don't know if you noticed in the podcast listeners, me and Manuka are quoted bobbleheads. So we'll just sit there like, yeah, because we don't need attention. It's actually like not something that we crave. I think like also like part of it is like being like, oh, you're one of the younger ones. Like you're just kind of there. You're happy just existing, following along, being there, and you don't need so much attention, which is
crave is a a harsh word.
But it's also like, I think that's part of our, like, why we're so free and like we're so easygoing is because like we don't need to always be like the center of attention. We don't always need people to hear us. We don't always need to say our opinion. That's what I find for being the youngest. What about you, Manuka?
No, I hear that.
Do you ever feel that you want your opinion heard?
Sometimes I don't feel like it's like come up where I'm like no one listens. I feel like everyone listens. But also I don't feel like we're always like having debates where everyone's like putting in their opinions, you know? But I feel like at some point everyone like not like levels out, but like at some point you go up and it's not like so crazy. All of a sudden you're 20 years apart, but you still have so like there's so much to relate on where it's not like, oh, you know. But I think it is nice when everyone like starts looking at you as an adult. I feel like that's an exciting time. But I also feel like there is something like growing up with parents that are a little bit older. Not that our parents are old, obviously. But I think that usually it's like, oh my gosh, youngest, blah, 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 no responsibilities. But I think me and Hesha did have responsibilities just because Ma and Ta were getting older and we were kind of taking care of the house at some point. So not that we were taking care of other kids, but not taking care of Ma and Ta because they are independent and amazing, but just taking care of the house. Like we were doing the shopping, the cooking. Like I feel like it does kind of like even out.
Well, we all had our share, so we were happy to dump it on you, but it definitely went from oldest. I just remember as Mushki talks about the salad making on Shabbos, where it was Adla and then Nimi and then Mushki, and then I guess Hesha and Nucha. But right, it's true. Like coming home, like the past couple of years, especially before you got married, we definitely appreciated you being in the house, making sure Shabbos was cooked and everything. So I guess it all comes around. We took care of you, but you get to help take care of us as well.
So I want to ask a question to the youngest, because there's like, we see it differently. Like it's so fun to have so many sisters, but I guess the question people feel like, is it like so many mothers and fathers, or is it just a positive of there's so many people I can go to when I want to go away? I have so many options, while like when we were older, we didn't have that. It's like the closest thing you could think of is like a fun aunt, but people get busy with their own lives, That's one. But also I feel like sometimes this is what I would imagine is that as a youngest, like a fear, and Nini, I think it's also you're married to a youngest where it's like, oh, pretty soon their families are so much bigger and so much more going on. And like, does it matter that we just had a baby, or like these small things that are happening because so many bigger events are happening other places.
Right. You're like so excited for your milestone upshurnish or bar mitzvah, and everyone's like, well, we're a grandmother and making weddings. So for sure.
Like, I'm curious how that feels for you guys, because you're in that situation.
I feel like everyone's still really good and still gets excited for everything. It's not like Hesha had a baby. Like everyone was still so excited. Like even like little milestones, I think everyone can still appreciate that even at different stages of like our lives. And also, like, before you said with, like, the mothers, I didn't look at it as, like, oh, my God, I had so many mothers. It was just like, oh, my gosh, like, you just have so many sisters. Like, it's so fun. Like, when I was little, I would go on trips with Adla, or I'd go to Nini's house after school every day. And I would just be like, oh, my gosh, my older sister's here. And everyone's like, what? Like, we're the oldest. What do you mean? I'm like, yeah, we go here with them. We go there. We go to California with Rania. I'm hanging out with my niece and nephews who are my age. Everyone's just like, what? And I was like, oh, no, like, this is just life. Like, it just is what it was. Like, I enjoyed it.
I feel like I appreciated it more as I got older, having so many sisters. I wouldn't say Mushki was the best older sister, to make you feel better, Nini. Mushki wasn't that nice.
Tell us more.
You weren't either.
But to be fair, it's a job of an older sister. I wasn't so nice either.
Wait.
Was that for Hesha or for me?
Oh, Hesha.
Okay.
But I'm going to also say, I feel like one last part about being the youngest is that it's funny because I feel like the youngest take care of the parents the most. I feel like growing up with your parents getting older makes you feel almost very protective of them as they get older. And I think that's why it's very common actually for youngest to take care of the parents, because like you have a certain like love and affinity with them, which is just different. Because like
I think also that people feel like the oldest siblings might not realize that their parents are getting older, because if you moved out, and I hear this from a lot of families where they're big families, most of the siblings went on shluchas, and then the youngest kid's like, well, I can't leave because who's going to be here with my parents, and they don't realize that they've gotten older. Like, especially in the Chabad world where people leave their parents, we don't all live together. And I've heard this from a few youngest where they're like, it's a little overwhelming because I'm the only one left in Crown Heights and everybody else left, without realizing our parents have gotten older.
Right, because the oldest kids always envision their parents when they left them, like young and strong.
Running this busy, crazy house. When I walk into Mommy and Tati's house and it's quiet and like everything's in its place, every time I'm like, wait, where are all the kids at the table doing supper? Like, I get so confused because it's just not what I'm comfortable with or used to. Like, even though we see it, it's very, you have that also, Mushki? It's so confusing.
Every time. Also, like you're saying, Mom and Tati getting older. I'm like, what do you mean, Mom and Tati? They're invincible. Like, the strong, like, that's how you think of them. For sure. Every time I'm like, wait, like, an alarm goes off. I'm like, what's going on? Why is nobody home? You know, like.
Rania, when you came back to the house as you were growing up in Far, like, did it feel like the house changed? Like, was it so different than when you were growing up, aside for physically being different? Or did it always feel consistent?
So when I used to come back with, like, especially when my kids were little, it was just like everyone getting a little bit older, but it felt like there were tons of kids, you know, coming and going, lots of different parties, events, always, you know, things going on. There was always something going on. It was always fun. It was always like very happening. So you're right. When you come back now, and I came back, remember last year, Chaf Bei Shvat, and I was the only one home because you guys weren't there. Nini wasn't there. And it was just me. It's like, where is everyone? It does feel very quiet. It was kind of like, how is
it's going to be a party.
Right? Yeah. Especially you're like, you're sitting in Ma's house and everyone's at work and you're like, I have no one to hang out with.
Or the Shabbos table that we never had enough space. And you'll see, like, I used to come in Menucha, Mommy and Tati are on the edge. And I'm like, where are the people? I never got a seat at the dining room table. Nini and I were in the kitchen because Gershi and the Bachram were at the table. Like, the fact that there could be empty spots is something I'll never get used to. And then Menucha's like, it's just us, and we're always like this. We're on the edge.
I love it like that. I come, it's still just me.
No, that was never a thing. Growing up, there was never enough space, ever. You're always having to put out, you know, extra tables, and we always had to pull up, you know, the extra chairs you always had in the basement. You know, it was always, you know, that was a boy's job. They had to get the tables and chairs because it was too heavy for us. In those days, it was wooden tables.
Now we found three things that
it was always
did.
tons of people.
I can't even imagine them at like 20 years old running around. Like, Tal was already white when I was born. Like, I don't even imagine anything else.
Well, you're lucky. He was always bald even before he got married. So that never changed.
Hesha, I was going to ask you before. I feel like you've said this before. Do you feel like also you were able to like blossom? I feel like with all of us and your personality come out only kind of once I left the house. And I feel like I really came out of, I was in a shell. People don't realize, like, when Nini got married, I feel like that's when, you know, I feel like that's when you really started forming your opinion and weren't just this little girl, you know, anymore.
Yeah, definitely. Mushki got married. I was probably like 14. I don't know. You got married like at 29, so it's like hard to always gauge how old I am. But
keeps changing.
She was literally.
You were anywhere between 8 and 16, Esha.
But definitely when you left the house,
I don't even flinch anymore. I start believing it.
In a way, I like turned into like a little bit of the oldest of the family. It was like funny, like a little bit of a shift. I am the youngest of the family, but I became almost the oldest because I started taking over all the big girl responsibilities, and the boys were already out of the house pretty much. So I was the oldest, and then it was probably that was my favorite time because I was able to blossom and become who I am, and then also like develop a new special relationship with Manta. Yeah, that definitely had like I had like my time, you could say.
Every summer when I sent my kids to overnight camp,
I was just gonna say that.
I told this to Mushki then. You see, the oldest kid that's home changes. Literally, they have an entire personality shift when the minute
like a facelift.
They get to step up into a new space. Like, there's so many good skills, and yeah, there's that stress that comes with it that come with being the oldest. And I feel like everyone, when they have that chance to step into that role, like they do an amazing job.
I was getting stressed out with one of my girls, and Ayla's like, just wait for the summer. When her older sister goes to camp, you're going to see. That's when it changes. She's going to blossom. She get her own space. And I'm like, what? And I feel like it was so healthy. I feel like telling mothers, send your kids to camp, not only for them, but to give space to the kids below them. All of a sudden, when the kid on bottom rises to the occasion and you're able to give them more of that oldest attention and a few more privileges, it really does something.
I wanted to share it so badly, so I actually cut Rania off. Rania, you were saying something before.
No, I was just asking Hesha if she was so excited to be able to be the oldest and boss Manucha around and get that skill of being the oldest.
Yeah, they always say the job with the second to youngest is to make sure the youngest isn't spoiled. That's like kind of your stronghold, and it was very fun.
I actually saw that the second to youngest is called the invisible one. It's like they're not the baby, and they're just like at some point there. But I'm glad you saw something else.
Right.
So Hesha's the youngest, and Manucha is just like the pet. Like I feel like that's like how I would, It's like Hesha's mommy's youngest, and Manucha's like Tati's pet. Like I actually didn't know that she was like one of the 12 of us. It's so separate from the 11 others. It's not like the 6 oldest and the 6 youngest, or a lot of us had like, there was the Rania and the 4 boys, and then us. Like our family split so many ways, or even we have 3 sets of 3. And in each of those 3s, there's an oldest, middle, youngest personality in those 3s. And then there's just Manucha. Like
the pet with the credit card, with the parents' credit card.
Sometimes when Mom and Ty are talking about everyone else, I get like shocked that they have other kids and it's not just me because it's just us. And I forget that like they love everyone equally. And I'm like, but then they say things and I'm like, I know, but like it's me. Like I know everyone got $1 per Hanukkah.
Do they love everyone equally?
That's what they say to everyone.
No, I want to mention one thing that I feel like I'm always so grateful when people say, are you happy you were from a big family or that you have a big family yourself? I always like to say, I feel like actually it's the biggest gift we could give our kids, that they have all the siblings, and like, because no one else loves you as much as your family. And there's never anything like quiet time. Like sometimes I feel bad for only children, even though they probably love it because like so much undivided attention from their parents. But like our kids are never bored and they always have someone who has their back.
So actually only children are called super oldest. Like it's whatever an oldest feels, they feel double because they're holding all that space and they have to take both parents and live up to all their dreams. So it's like whatever we discussed as the oldest, they have that extra more. So 100%, I mean, like how fun that there are 5 other women out there that have the same DNA as me. And like we, everyone knows this, but like sometimes we'll say something and then Nini and I will be like, we're the same person. Hesha will say that. Like, how is it even possible? Or like Manucha and Hesha put their head together and boom, out comes this idea. Or like, Rania will say something, share something, and it's like, okay, we all thought of that, right? At the same time, we would have responded the same way. Mushki, not because you're the middle. I didn't mention you just because I didn't get to you yet.
I noticed.
But we have the same personality. We think reels are funny, and then other influencers don't think they're funny, but we know that they really are because that's that family connection.
Or like, even if no one else finds it funny, there's 10 other human beings that will laugh at it.
Of people living on Earth that will find it hilarious, even if we offend a few thousand people. If you have one sibling, you can't do that because that's one other person laughing.
Right. Truth is, it's also built-in best friends. So it's like life is always a party. There's always something to be running to. And truth is, like, here we are sitting together with our besties. So truth is, siblings are the biggest gift. So we definitely appreciate what Tama had done, having 12 kids as we're each growing our families. It's definitely not easy. Really takes a lot of time, devotion, making your mistakes with the oldest through the youngest, but all throughout is really just parents just really try to give it their all, nonstop time, love, care. And it's amazing as we grow up to really see the fruits of the labor. I just remember Menucha's Mazinka was just the most special moment, was like, this is the nachas, this is the 40 years of parenting and hard work and input that you really do get to have your family, who's your biggest support and your best friends.
Nina, you're mentioning the Mazinka. So if anyone is joining the podcast at this point in time, thanks to the last few episodes, if you do go back to an earlier episode, I think it's episode 4, we had our mom on and we talked about how, as a large family, keeping it close and how we all grew up to be, such good friends. I feel like that if you would love to have a big family, and like Rania said, it's the biggest, most amazing gift you can give your children, that's a great episode to listen to. Our mom just has such terrific advice, and we know it resonated with so many people.
It's true. Number 4 was a good one. Well, it's another great week here on the Sisters Chat. Obviously, we like to do our fast 5 before we say goodbye. So, girls, are you ready?
Hesha Menucha, you don't have to respond. Just bobble your heads.
Okay.
I didn't open up my mouth. You can tell how used to it I am.
Just want to make sure you stay in your place and you don't feel too empowered because we gave you a mic.
Just because we're letting you voice your opinions now. We are your older sisters, so keep it at that. Okay, are we ready?
Just for show.
Question number 1. Who handled the most responsibility growing up?
Rania.
Rania.
Ava?
I'm going to say Ava and Rania. They definitely shared roles as oldest, like we said. Who gets away with everything now?
Menucha.
I guess it's Menucha. Mushki gets away with a lot, by the way.
I was gonna say also Nini. Nini is
Nini gets away with a lot. You're right, Natasha. I don't want to throw it just to Menucha. Menucha's a throwaway answer.
Yeah, that's an easy answer.
Like I said, from the 11 actual children, not the pet.
From mommy.
From mommy, not from Tati, though. What do I get away with?
Nothing.
From mommy, you get her to do things. The way that Tati sits down for your reels, I can't get him to do my taxes
I'm
like
shocked
that.
every time.
Who is the family crisis manager?
Adla.
Or Nini.
Adla Nini. It's like a corporate team, like Adla Nini Associates.
And we don't get paid for it, guys, by the way.
It's your chesed hours.
It's a non-profit.
Who is the emotional support sibling?
Nini.
Nini.
Yeah, Nini or Mushki are both good emotional support.
Really,
Mushki, maybe.
Hello.
If you need her in a crisis,
Feel good
in a
middle
crisis.
child syndrome. Mushki, we're doing so well.
Hello. All those hours of therapy and emotion code. Yes, I am good for something, Hesha.
I can't.
Mushki, remember when you decided to be the oldest of the youngest
Are
for
we
a day?
speaking that?
I
How
feel
did that not come up in a conversation?
Because it didn't get past making the WhatsApp. Because
Past the
you want
group
this one
chat.
thing.
I was so not good at it.
no.
It was a cute idea.
I'm annoyed because Mendy and I are both the middle, but the oldest of our generations, and we both ended up in that caretaker position. Like an oldest would have made more sense for me. I got the oldest, but not for me, for like other people, you know?
Yeah. I wish we should have had a podcast to listen to before.
I wish they would have done
Or you
that.
went out, asked what number in the family is he?
Is this person exactly? And if it's the youngest, just
Beware.
but they're cute.
The
You know, it's a very feminine thing where your husband takes care of you. Like they love it.
last question. Not survive without the family group chat.
Nini.
Nini, Menucha,
What would
Menucha,
you-
really.
It really keeps
I
me
get
going.
But me and Rania hold pretty true. We comment the most, so it keeps the glue.
Maybe Rania also.
Yes.
What would your life purpose be, Nini?
I don't know. sins of family group chats is like a shlichus of my own. I love it.
What was your life? Next week's episode, what was life like before WhatsApp?
Well, this was so much fun exploring the oldest, the middle, the youngest, and really just appreciating the different birth order, but really our unique personalities, but still really having so much respect for one another and enjoying like watching each other grow up and really growing into the relationships as we got older from kids, adults now. And we all feel blessed having such great best friends and sisters. So we hope you guys enjoyed hearing a little bit more about us as we deep dived into our birth order. And hopefully you related to one part or the other wherever you find yourself at in your family. We hope to see you next week, 8:00 a.m. on the
Sister
7
Chat.
o'clock, Nini.
7.
You two can't decide. Every week I get a camera that says 7 or 8, but you fight it out. 6 and 7, you fight it out.
6, 7.
Guys, no,
next
no.
week on the
On the
Sister
Sister
Chat.
Chat.
We are a